Hi everybody, and welcome to Cooking with Cricket. Today I'm going to attempt something that I love to make, but I just feel like I'm no good at it. I already do where we cook from scratch most of our meals. I've been doing that. It's a whole lot healthier for you and stuff, and trying to do a little garden and everything. But I'm going to attempt to make bread rolls from scratch. I got this recipe from Heather's channel, the Kneady Homesteader. I've been asking her a lot of questions on bread and canning. And so I know how to make pizza dough. I make the pizza dough and we pre-bake it a little bit, and then we make our pizza, put our pizza toppings on there and put them in the freezer, little mini pizzas. And then that way when my kids or my husband, wants a snack or something, you got a frozen pizza in the freezer. So I know how to do that. And I've made rolls and cinnamon rolls and all before, but like I said, I just feel like I don't do it right and that it don't turn out right. And I'm still learning. Now biscuits, I can throw down on some biscuits and everything, and I have a video of that. But this is Heather's recipe from the Kneady Homesteader. I've sat and wrote it all down, and so I'm gonna try to do this. And this is my other question and my other concern. I just found out I can store my yeast in the freezer, Heather said. So, yay. So now I can buy it up when I see it. I don't know what kind of yeast to get. There's all different kinds. This is the fast rising yeast. It says highly active, and then you got quick rise and all this kind of stuff. So I just tend to buy this. But I don't know when you need to proof the yeast, or like in her video, she just put her yeast right in her mix. So that confuses me. And that's something I want to learn a lot of too, because I would like to get to the point that we just make our own bread, So this is what I'm using, these packets. But I'll measure them out. I think there's about 2 teaspoons in each packet. I'm not sure. So I'm going to go ahead and proof this yeast, because I don't know if this is the kind. It's not going to hurt it to proof it. But I'm going to go ahead and proof it in 1.5 cups of warm water. So I'll be right back. Okay, change of plans. I don't have to do that. It says right here on the back, no need to dissolve before use if added directly to dry ingredients. If added directly to the dry ingredients, not dissolved, add liquids warm to 120 to 130 degrees Fahrenheit. So I don't have to do that. So let me get my ingredients together. Oh, and I store my flour and my cornmeal in the freezer so it don't get weevils or nothing in it. But I read an article or saw something like that on TV, and they said at least when you buy your flour or cornmeal, put it in the freezer for at least 24 hours. But I just keep mine in there. So I set my bag out this morning, and because I didn't know if that would matter if my flour was real cold or not. So let me get my ingredients together and I'll be back. Alright, I think I'm ready. I've pulled up her video several times to check on the water, because if you can use milk powder instead of milk, but then you change the water. So y'all check out her video. So let's get started. So we need 6 cups of all-purpose flour. So I'm just going to measure out 6 cups real quick. 1, 6. Now I'm going to leave my flour out because I was watching her make some other bread. I think it was her braided loaf, in case it still looks a little watery on the bottom. Anyway, So we have that and 2 teaspoons of instant yeast. Now mine says fast rising, but it said on the back I didn't have to proof it. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I don't. So that's 2 teaspoons. Okay, let's see. 1. And there was a little bit, yep, 2 teaspoons. 2. So there was 2 teaspoons in that packet. 2 teaspoons of salt. Let me run and get it. I'm just going to use regular salt, not my kosher salt. 1. I'm not going to add it directly on top of that yeast. Okay, and I know she said sugar when I went back and watched it a while ago, but now somehow when I went back my connection is lost. I think she said 2 tablespoons of sugar, so we're going with 2 tablespoons. 1, 2. Alright, I'm going to mix that up real quick, and I'll be right back. Alright, now she used 2 tablespoons of butter, and it looked like her butter was still whole, so I'm sure it was softened to room temperature. I keep my stick butter in the freezer because I use it for baking, and I forgot to lay it out, so I kind of melted it, so I hope that's alright. So 2 tablespoons of butter, and then I'm using very warm, I didn't boil this, I just got it out of the tap, got it till it was real hot. 1½ cups of warm water. And then it said, she said 1 cup of warmed milk. So I just put my milk in the microwave for a few seconds at a time and would stir it and just test it to see. So this is warm. So 1 cup of warmed milk. And then we're just going to put the bread hook on and start it off at level 1 and then go up to level 2 to get it mixed in so we don't get flour all over us. So I'm starting off at level 1. I hope my mixer's big enough for this. And I believe she said this was a double batch, but y'all gonna check out her video. Okay, I'm gonna go on up to speed 3 because her mixer was bigger than mine. Alright, I'm gonna have to stop and scrape my flour down because it's not getting all mixed in there. It looks like it's trying to. Alright, my dough still looks real wet. I'm going to make sure I got all the flour off the bottom. So I'm probably going to have to add more flour. And I'm sure it's the conditions of your area on that. So I'm going to add more flour. You don't want it sticking all to the bowl. I probably didn't count it right, so I added about a cup. Okay, excuse the sound of my mixer. It just sounds like it's on its last legs. I've had it for years. But she said once it comes together and it's pulling away from the sides, that's when we start timing it to knead it. But mine's still sticking real bad. So I'm going to add some more flour, and I'll just bring you back when it gets ready to be kneaded. Alright, now remember her mixer was bigger than mine. But my dough looks like it's starting to do like hers. Watch when I take my arm off of it. So, now see how it's not sticking to the sides? It's all around the dough hook. So now we're going to, on speed 2, we're going to let this knead in the bowl for 5 minutes. If if my mixer can handle it. So I'll be back in 5 minutes. Alright, there's my timer. I don't know if my mixer's doing that well enough, so I'm going to take it out, put a little flour on my table, and just knead it for just about a minute by hand. So let me get it out of the bowl, and I'll be back. Alright, I floured my hands. Oh, it feels good. I spread out just a little bit of flour. So I'm just going to knead it for a minute. Feels like real nice dough. I love making dough and everything. But, alright, I have a big old glass bowl. You don't have to have a glass bowl. This camera's in reverse. I'm going to spray it with some non-stick spray. If you don't have any, just put a little oil in there and brush it around. This way it don't stick. Okay. Now Heather took it out and she formed it into a ball, like pushed everything to the bottom. And then just kind of pinched it together right there. Mine ain't seem to be pinching. Alright. I'm going to put it in the bowl. We're going to spray the top with some non-stick spray. And I'm going to cover it with some plastic wrap. Set it in a draft-free, warm place for an hour. Or at least till it's doubled. So when we get to that point, after an hour has been up, and this is what confuses me. If I look at my dough and it don't look like it's risen much, I'll let mine go longer. Or sometimes it may be running out of the bowl and I'll still let it finish. That's the point I get confused at too. When do I stop that process? Anyway, I'm going to cover it with plastic wrap, set it in a warm, undisturbed, draft-free place, which will be on my oven top, and or you can put it in your oven with it turned off with the oven light on, and I'll be back in an hour. It's been an hour, and here's my dough. And I'm standing in front of the window, so sorry about the lighting, because sometimes it'd be like that. But look, it's risen to the top. And my table's real clean, my hands are real clean. And we shouldn't need no flour, so I'm going to remove the plastic wrap. And you punch down the dough. Just deflate it, she said. All around and deflate it. And then take it out. And we're going to press it out in a big old rectangle. And this dough isn't sticking or anything. Feels real nice. Move that back. Pop out any air bubbles that you may feel. Okay, that looks good. Oops. And now, from the longest end, we're going to roll it up. Doesn't have to be a tight roll or anything. But roll it up. And this seam right here, I'm going to pinch it and close up the seam. So pinch the seam together. On the end pieces right here, I'm just going to curl this over like this. Poke it in and then kind of pull it over to make the end smooth. and pinch that together. And now to do this side, poke it in and just pull up a piece and pinch that together. Alright, now I'm going to turn it back on the seam, let it lay on the seam. I don't have a cutting board as big as this bread log is. Oops, let me get it all the way on the seam. So what I'm going to do is just try my best to cut it while on the board so I'm not cutting up my table. And I'm having to use a knife because I don't have a pastry scraper. But cut it in half. And so we're going to work with this half right here so I can fit it on the board. And then cut it in half again. And just keep cutting it in half. There, like that's cut in half. This is cut in half. Then half. And half. And half again. Oh, and then we cut these in half. So, like this. Now go this way and cut that in half. And we'll set them aside. And I've got that plastic wrap saved so I can cover these up while I do the other ends. So now I'm going to cut up the other end just like this, and then I'll be back. And I'm going to cover these pieces with the piece of plastic wrap that I had when they was rising. Alright, I have a big old baking sheet, and I'm going to spray it real good with the non-stick spray. And now we're going to start rolling out our rolls. So I'm going to zoom in real close to right here. Alright, take a roll and we're going to fold it over itself and tuck it under. Like stretch it and fold it up under itself. Then turn around and gather it and pinch it at the bottom. And then cup your hand and roll it on the table like that. And then you have a nice little dough ball. I'm going to set that on my baking sheet. And I'll do another one. Like fold it over. Pinch it together. And smooth it out. So I'll get these done and then I'll be back to show you what they look like when I get them all done. This is the part too that when making bread to try to figure out how to time it for when my supper will be ready. Usually I either time it way too soon or we're still waiting on the bread to get done when it's time to eat. So I'll be back in just a minute when I get these done. And you want to keep your other dough covered up till you get ready to roll them out so they don't form like a crust on them. So I've got 6 done. This is my 7th one. The first ones will probably be totally risen by the time I get this done. Alright, I got this pan done. I'm working on another pan, but we're going to lightly spray the tops of them and cover them with some plastic wrap. And these will rise for 30 minutes. Alright, I've already got 24 made. I might have cut mine too small. But anyway, I've got 2 big pans already made and these left over. So I went ahead and rolled them like I did the other ones. And I'm going to set them on a pizza pan with a piece of wax paper. And I'm going to flash freeze these and then for about an hour, and then put them in a bag and see how they do once I take them out to be thawed. There are my 2 pans of the rolls, and I've sprayed them, and now they're rising for 30 minutes. I'm going to preheat my oven to 375, and I'll come back and show you before we put them in the oven. It's been 30 minutes and my rolls have risen nicely. My oven has been preheated to 325 degrees, and Heather says to cook them for 20 to 25 minutes or until they're lightly browned on top. And when they get done, I'll bring you back and show you what they look like. I had the wrong temperature on the oven. I kept saying 325, and no wonder it took these first batch of rolls forever to cook. After about 30 minutes, I looked back on my piece of paper where I'd wrote down Heather's recipe, and it's 375 degrees. So I'm sure these will be good. They've got that thump to them. And so I'm going to put them on a rack to cool. So, like she said, the bottom won't get soggy. And I have my other batch in the oven at the right temperature, which is 375 degrees. And then those few that I flash frozen, they sit in the freezer for about an hour. And then I got a freezer bag and put on the bag what they were and what to bake them at, which was, I just realized, was the wrong temperature, so I need to go change that. But I'll be back when the other ones get done. And here's the other batch out of the oven that didn't take that long. So, and they sound just like the other ones. And I cut one of the first batch in half. And now I'm going to try a bite. They look just like Heather's did. So let me try a bite. These are good. I think my family will enjoy them when we sit down to eat dinner tonight. I'll get their opinions. But some butter or some cinnamon butter or some honey butter would be good spread on these. So y'all go check out the Kneady Homesteader. I'm going to put a link to her video of these rolls, and also a link in the description box to her channel. Y'all go check her out. She has great cooking, canning, bread making videos, and I really enjoy it.